This is Majin, and here is another edition of some comic reviews. I actually had to read through a lot of books until I got my good, bads, and disappointings. So here's what we got. We have Justice League, Judge Dredd, Wolverine, Secret Avengers, Spider-Man, Avengers, Undercover, X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Miss Marvel. So let's get on with Justice League of America. This one, I was reading it, and I reached a point where I literally just table flipped it, and I almost stopped reading. Basically, what's going on is you have Stargirl fighting Desparo, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. Technically, she really shouldn't be able to beat him, but okay, I'll go with it. Then they get to the part where, oh, there's Firestorm, and she saves the day, and she recalls all the Avengers, and then I see Batman in the mix, and Catwoman, and I'm like, wait a second, these two people aren't supposed to be trapped. What are they doing here? And that's where I table flipped it. Because I'm going, you obviously didn't pay attention to the meetings. Well, I calmly read the rest of the book, and I have to admit, what they did was a very good twist. And I don't think anybody was really caught by, could have really said, I saw that coming. Because they did, while there were clues that something was amiss, they did a good enough job to cover the thing up and have it come together here. Unfortunately, it just took so freaking long to get to this point where it's kind of like I'm stopped caring now. And it's just kind of infuriating in that sense. But I will say this issue here did redeem itself over what's been going on in the past. Judge Dredd, the American Way. The American Way of Death. Now, I love Judge Dredd. I think Judge Dredd is a fantastic character. And Judge Death is probably one of my favorite villains. I mean, it's basically Judge Death is from another world. And Judge Death and his judges, which were originally Fire, Fear, Mort, and Mortis. And what they determined was that human life was the cause of all the crimes, in a sense. So what they did was they decided to kill everybody. If you kill everybody, you stop crime. And they decimated their world. So eventually they go to Mega City 1, and then they start repeating the process. And, it's Judge Dredd and company finally beat them and sent them home. Now, in this issue here, they're back. But they brought other judges with them. So basically, this is a good jumping on period, because this basically is telling you these are all of the new Dark Judges. Gives you a little sampling of their power, and gets you right into what's going on quickly. So, if you're a Judge Dredd fan, definitely pick this up. If you've been curious about Judge Dredd, this is the issue to definitely start with. Or actually, maybe start with the couple issues before it, because Judge Dredd is out of the picture right at the beginning of this. There's a whole drama about what has been going on with him, and he's technically like in a suspended animation right now. So that previous storyline will clue you in, but fantastic. I'm mixed here because I really enjoyed this, but this is one of those things that it's hard for me to go, wow, this was a great piece of writing, just because it was too much. Okay, this is who this is, and that's who that is, and they moved the story along that way by explaining to everybody. But regardless, I loved it. But I'm a Judge Dredd fanboy, so. Okay, Wolverine number 3. This was really, really, this was on its way to being disappointing and the bad at the same time. Imagine this. You have Wolverine, the best there is, and, he's going into a battle. He freaks out, and he runs home. He literally ran home. He won't even go after Sabretooth. And I'm like, you are a coward. And I was just like, you are the biggest disappointment in Marvel Comics right now. And I went through the laundry list of how can you do this to this character? This is an injustice. This is horrible. This is the Superior Spider-Man all over again. And that's when I realized when I said that they're onto something. And what they're doing is basically this. With Superior Spider-Man, if you remember, they took Peter out of the equation and they put in Doc Ock, and then they made Doc Ock do horrible things that Spider-Man would not do. With Wolverine, they can't necessarily do a mind swap. So they took the one thing that, Spider-Man, his essence was Peter Parker. With Wolverine, his essence is his, in a sense, his healing factor. You take that away, and now you have a scared man. And this changes everything. And that's when I realized that they're actually onto something, because this, in a way, especially this issue here, it's really watching a character being stripped down and watching him react to it. And that's what I suddenly found that interesting. Because we would never see Wolverine like this, ever. Now, this issue takes place before the very first issue, because at the very end, it shows how he got his armor. And this is, like I said, when I was going through all of this, this is when I realized that this is what's going on. And when I saw this last page, that's when it really hit home. That this here is Superior Wolverine, but they're not calling it that. So if you're like everybody else before me, it was table flipping. They're on to something. Now, I don't know if they're going to be able to pull it off like Slott was able to do with Superior, but there's something going on here that it might actually turn out to be good. So I'm going to be on board for a little bit longer. Secret Avengers. Now, I don't really want to spend too much time with this one. This is actually like a really entertaining Avenger title. It's very like low maintenance, and it's kind of weird too because you have MODOK running around working for S.H.I.E.L.D., creating weapons of death, and it's just kind of like this weird hodgepodge of characters in unusual type settings, and like things that you don't normally see every day. Like Spider-Woman and Black Widow getting a massage. Hawkeye being chased by AIM agents, things like weird, things like that. And right at this panel, I have to admit, I kind of expected MODOK just to like rise from the back. But anyways, it's if you're looking for something different, this is it. But I wouldn't expect big heroic events, like you would with the other Avengers. But I think that's what makes this book a little bit special, and one of the reasons why I pick it up, because it's completely different than everything else. Superior Spider-Man. This one here, I'm really torn with this, and by the being torn is this. I really enjoyed it, but it's one of those things where it's like Slott has raised the bar so high and has done such a fantastic job that it's like, how do you outdo yourself when you really need to outdo yourself? And that's the problem. He's not really outdoing himself, but he's still doing good work. I mean, the fact of how the Green Goblin is just able to just jack with Otto. It's like, hey Doc, here, hey Otto, all these important parts of your history, your memory, like your home, where all your scientific gear is, your heart clinic, where you save some people. I'm just gonna blow it all up. It's like that, and it's I just found that like it's just like you're really punching the guy in the gut where it hurts type thing. And you have this Green Goblin's constantly outsmarting him, and he's doing a great job. It's just that it's like you want more, and it's like he can't give you more, and that's where the problem is. But I think we're about to get it, because we have the Spider Slayers, and you also have Spider-Man 2099. Now, also what I really was finding funny is how great, I should say, is how he talks to people. Like, right at the very beginning, you have, like, Mary Jane and Parker talking, and then it's like, she's like, this is what, I did, I'm out of the city, and it's just the way, Otto is like, going, Watson, this is what I want you to do, and he hangs up on her, and it's like, oh my god, it's like the harm that's going to be caused. And he does this again later on, too, and it's like, he's just ruining all these friendships, and, his business is half blown up, and it's like, he's really setting the stage for when Peter comes back, people are going to be hostile towards him. And this is where Slott is doing something I think really sneaky, and I'm really, that's what's really making me look forward to the return of Peter, because that world that Peter comes in, it's not going to be what he thinks it's going to be, and I'm really looking forward to it. Now, granted, he can probably explain some stuff off, but to certain people, but other people he can't, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. Avengers Undercover. Now, this kind of makes me upset in the sense where you have Arcade releasing these videos on YouTube of what's been going on, and it's been months since these videos started to come out, but yet none of the superhero community seems to be at arms about what's going on. Now, I fully understand that all the other comics have their own issues that are going on, but you would think that when you have a supervillain who takes the kids and does that to them, at least Hank Pym should have been a little bit upset, but we don't even see that at all. And there's other superheroes, like in the Europe side, that should have been really pissed off. But again, nothing. It's just nobody. It's like these characters are off the radar still. And what they're basically going to be doing is they're going to join Baron Zemo's group. Some of them are going to become a villain, and basically they're going to be trying to dismantle Baron Zemo and the Masters of Evil. Now, one thing that's really got me excited about this is we get the return of the Son of Satan. But I'm kind of going, what's he doing joining Baron Zemo? Because he's not really a villain, but he's not really a superhero either. So I'm kind of confused at that. But regardless, I enjoyed it. I look forward to issue number 2. All New X-Men, number 24. There's not much that really could be said. Bendis and M-Men do a great job together. And this is basically just battle, set up for battle, and then we get a little action at the end. Now, I think some of the humor between like Rocket Raccoon and Iceman, that's gone, but it's a little bit replaced with Cyclops manning up a little bit, which I kind of appreciate. And keep in mind, even though I'm saying he's manning up, I understand that he hasn't had that opportunity yet to grow. And now he's getting some growth in here. So I really enjoyed that part. The fight with the Guardians of the Imperial Guard was really short, and that part was disappointing. But you're fighting gladiators, so it's like that alone is hard enough. I love Groot fighting. That part was good. And even though I don't really have much more to say about this, I really enjoyed it. But it's it's the setup for the last issue, so and it's been pretty straightforward as to what the direction is. So there's not a lot of surprises or anything like that. But regardless, I think if anything, this will definitely be worth trading. It was definitely good. Fantastic Four 2. Oh, this was good. Robinson did a great job with this one. Basically what's going on is, if you remember way back with Heroes Reborn, Franklin Richards created this other world. Well, this other world had monsters in it, and the monsters escaped. And they basically destroyed Long Island, or Manhattan. One of those places. Oh, Manhattan. Now, these monsters are all over the place, tearing things up. Now, this city is getting jacked up, because not only do you have these insect creatures, but you have Green Goblin and his goons wrecking things up. And then you also had, Thanos and his goons. So there's been some trying times here. Now, eventually Reed Richards figures out how to stop these creatures, and then it comes at a cost. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a spoiler, but I will say this. One of the Fantastic Four members loses their powers. And, you know, obviously we know that by the time the movie starts, the person will have their powers back. This is not going to be a long-term thing, so there's no reason to freak out. But what I will say is this issue was really, really well done, and this is such a refreshing change compared to what the direction was before. This seems a lot more tighter, this seems more focused. Even though we're 2 issues in, we're actually starting to see a better, and I would say, yeah, much better plot, much more like super heroic in a sense. I do miss the fact that they're not exploring, but that exploring part, those last previous issues where it just was not, I don't think it was focused enough, and it just seemed to be pandering a little bit to alternate realities, alternate characters, alternate worlds, and that kind of stuff. And this, it seems much, a much better direction. So, and I really enjoyed this. Captain Marvel #1. Well, I wanted to really bag on this issue, but it wasn't that bad. It's not that it's not a horrible read, but it's not a great read either. I think it's, it's definitely probably a 7 or 8 out of 10 type thing. It's definitely a strong book. And this pretty much is just laying down, hey, this is Captain Marvel, this is what her situation is, and this is why she's in space right now. So that part it did what it really needed to do, and for that I can appreciate it. The art was decent, nothing fantastic, but it was still decent regardless. I just wish that they drew a little bit more backgrounds at times, but or I should say better backgrounds at times, because it seems kind of plain. But regardless, I think I'll definitely pick up probably at least the next couple issues just to see how the direction of the story goes. And eventually, we all know she's eventually going to join Guardians, so I figure I may as well figure out what's going on with her now. Anyways, that is my stack O reviews. Comments or questions, put them below. Like and share. Facebook, Crunchyroll Anime Reviews. We have some manga coming in. I got the new Attack on Titan manga, the one within high school, and I'm going to go to Barnes & Noble, pick up some more stuff. So anyways, more videos later, so until next time.